with Ted Cruz at a restaurant recently.
You cannot be civil.
I think we're going to take a quick break, folks. We got a little bit more different on this, and we're going to talk about a whole bunch of things: local politicians, financial crisis. I mean, local news. It's just so much waiting you. Stay tuned. I'll be right back.
Don't go anywhere now.
John will be right back right after this.
Yes, he will. Check out the new book from Derek Shelmerdine,
Rock and Roll Unraveled.
It tells the story of rock and roll from its roots right up until the mid-'70s punk.
Rock and Roll Unraveled.
Not just the music, but also the events that shaped the music.
Rock and Roll Unraveled.
It includes the backgrounds to recording sessions, singles, album releases, births and deaths, epic concerts, and festivals.
Rock and Roll Unraveled.
Shelmerdine has made a painstaking effort to document pretty much every event that would prove significant in shaping popular music.
Rock and Roll Unraveled.
Purchase the book at www.rockandrollunraveled.com. Follow him at Twitter at R&R Unraveled, and look him up on Facebook at Rock and Roll Unraveled.
Rock and Roll Unraveled.
By author Derek Shelmerdine.
Available now.
Hey man, you're listening to the John Lebang Show, man.
The place where chronic brain cell rejuvenation happens.
Feel like you're getting any smarter yet?
I'm getting so sick of discussing all these political issues. I mean, that's not why I started doing this in the first place. But we're stuck doing this sort of thing to protect what I think, at least because and this is my show and it's my opinion on this show, to protect the good parts of America and to try to fix what has been changed over time that has really destroyed this country. One of them's the Federal Reserve. And I have a little teeny smidgen of hope that Trump, and he's got a lot to do in the next year, because the year after that, there is no way he's going to be able to get as much done because he's going to be campaigning for his reelection. I mean, we're at the verge of that. We still have this election to deal with, and then all the presidential stuff will start. We're going to start hearing who's getting involved on the Democrat Party, who's going to run. Elizabeth Warren, Joe Biden, a plethora of others are all going to be vying to run against Donald Trump. By the way, did you know, ladies and gentlemen, that your congressman is not paid by your state? He's paid by the Department of Treasury. I wasn't sure if you were aware of that, but that's the truth. So why would your congressman, who's duly elected in your state, even care what you think or do what you and your state needs when he's not paid by you? What kind of loyalty does he have to that state? So there's something we've got to change in the government as well. The state needs to pay the representative that goes up to Washington, D.C., and they shouldn't stay there the whole time anyways. They should be back in their state, finding out what their state needs. Screw having a residency in Washington, D.C. D.C. should be a part-time job. Your state's more important. You should have your rep working inside your state. But they're up there in D.C. and they only come home in like August and around Christmas. They take their breaks. Hey, it's nice up there. And that's where they get their paycheck from. All this is happening. And we had what would be considered a wild ride on Wall Street this week. Wednesday, 800 points in the negative. For the people who are listening to this maybe a week later, this is for the week of October 13th. The Dow closed the next day on Thursday at 500 points lower. They made a little bit back on Friday. It's very odd because I just told you last week, we're due for something. It's probably on the horizon, not far away. And blam, 2 big, huge days. Big, huge days. Now they're touting that the week was still plus a couple hundred points or whatever it was, barely a plus. And it's astonishing that more people don't take heed of what I say. It's not like any mainstream outlets are going to give me. I mean, not only do the mainstream outlets want to have anything to do with the John Lebang show, don't want to touch it, but the politicians running for a mainstream position don't want to come on the show. Oh, yeah, I've attempted. Oh, Jeff and Patrick and one other. I don't know where they stand on much. You know, they tell us on their Facebook postings they haven't had that many public appearances by my count. They're probably running unopposed, or like for some of the public offices that are available. Not many people even care about those positions, so it's easy to win them. I've even thought about running for a few of them. Banger 2020. I mean, I shoot big, though. I don't want to be a lonely county executive of some sort, hold some, county commissioner office or whatever. I mean, that's just shooting too low. That's an easy one. I could get that without trying and get a free paycheck if I really wanted to. Are you kidding me? I'd verbally slaughter any opponents, and I'd challenge them to debates all the time. I haven't seen one debate for these other guys, or if the one guy might, Mr. Jeff over there, Jeff might have had a debate of some sort. But to get back on the financial situation here, because I'm jumping all over the place, and we got to try to stay focused, although I know I'm going to be all over the map. I gave you the warning in the beginning. But the New York Times just put out an article, "The world is due for another financial crisis." Was everybody listening to the John Lebang show last week? I'm just asking. I heard some national radio hosts that echoed exactly what I said last week. And maybe it's because my show comes out on a Sunday. It originates on that day, and it beats all the mainstream guys because they're Monday through Friday. It beats those guys to the punch. So that should mean that more people should listen Sunday. I know it's tough out there because you've got the Walking Freds and all these football games that are so important, millionaires making all this sort of money, and they treat their fans like, meh. You gotta pay them because they don't make enough money for a freaking autograph. You go to these events and you pay outrageous for concessions because tickets aren't bad enough. It's all you out there, little people out there that pay for everything. All the tax-paying people, you pay for everything because anybody that gets anything from the government is getting it from you. They just don't want to say it. They think the government's the generous one. Oh, it's the government so generous, handing out food stamps, bridge cards, welfare, public housing, all that. That's not the government. Are you kidding me? That's the American people who has been generously robbed of their money. And to keep the mobs happy, keep the people that can't take care of their own lives happy, they hand them out money. Here you go. Here you go. When it's time to call you out, because we want you to vote Democrat then. When it's time to call you out to do something, we'll even pay you more because we can pay people to protest. And, I mean, that's another thing. I swear, the government needs so much work. And Donald Trump, there's no way he's going to be able to do it in 4 years because he's got one more year to do something. And then it's over because he's then got to go into campaign mode. And all bets are off after that. And as you can see, the Republicans who've had chance to repeal things and to change things before this election. And they had to do it because it's crucial. It's vital to get some of these things done. Like the abolishment of Obamacare. Nothing. That extra little tax cut that was supposed to come to us little people because of the 14% tax reduction that they gave to the corporations, who are in turn raising prices, of course, who are raising prices. And if you're looking around, even though they claim that we're at an all-time low, there are companies getting rid of people and who are, let's just say, very well off on their stock prices, like $450 a share, $400 a share, $200 a share. They're still laying off people. And they got a reduction in taxes. Where's our tax cut? Congress, Mr. President? Give us 14%. Oh, that'll blow up the deficit. Well, there's a way to get rid of the deficit, Mr. President. You were talking about it this week. Let's take out the Federal Reserve. Eliminate it. Abolish it. Totally get rid of it. Start printing our own money and loaning the banks the money instead of borrowing from the Federal Reserve. Why can't we do that? Guess what? When they're loaning money from us, they're the ones that are going to owe us all the interest, not the other way around. Woodrow Wilson either was totally stupid or is completely corrupt for allowing the Federal Reserve Act and the 16th Amendment to be implemented. All this because we're facing, the New York Times is saying we're facing a world crisis financially. The Banger told you just a week ago to look for some kind of correction in the stock market, and boom, it happened. I'm no guru. Not at all. I don't even pay that much attention. I'm not even involved in the stock market outside of a 401k that I have at one of the places I have my day jobs at. The ones that pay for all this stuff. All the free information I give to you out there, all that stuff that I take the time to do it myself. I learn myself on that stuff, and I try to educate you on what's happening out there because the mainstream media won't do it. You can't even get Fox News to talk about it very much. Let's get back to the New York Times article because I'm all over the place. History suggests that the world is about due for another financial crisis. One of the places it might start, according to the growing number of indicators, is Italy. It has a boatload of questionable debt. The banks are weak as heck. It has an erratic government. An erratic government. And a sizable economy, ladies and gentlemen, able to inflict collateral damage outside the Italian borders. Remember Greece, Iceland, and what that all did? They didn't fix all that. They put a Band-Aid over a major problem. And don't put it past them to crash the economy so bad one day to where they implement digital currency. And there's a lot of interesting correlations between all these cryptocurrencies and the possible. Notice how they've all come into play right before the next big one. Oh, John, there's not going to be a next big one. Come on. You don't know history. Ever since the Federal Reserve has got their greedy little hands on our money system, we've had ups and downs and ups and downs. Good times and bad times. Well, we've seen some good times. It took a while to get here. And maybe they'll last for a little while longer. But eventually, the bottom's going to fall out. Because there's nothing at all supporting the financial system. And when that financial system collapses and it just falls apart, they're going to need something to fill the vacuum. And it's going to be a cryptocurrency. And it's not going to be Bitcoin because Bitcoin doesn't have the ability to handle the world supply of money. But there is a corporation out there. There is a cryptocurrency out there that can. And if you're diligent enough, and if you pay attention and research these cryptocurrencies and see who could handle the amount of finances the world has to offer if the entire economy of the world collapses. Who knows when that'll be? I don't know when that'll happen. But it'll happen one day. And these cryptocurrencies that are being born out of thin air are going to be there to replace the faux money. We're going to take our quick break here, folks. We'll be back with more after this.
Don't move a muscle.
John Lebang Show, right back.
With lots of fun and excitement. Yes!
Pane in the Glass, commercial and residential window cleaning for a beautiful sparkling shine that's crystal clear. Call Pane in the Glass Window Cleaning. You can find them on Facebook at Pane in the Glass.
Hey, man, it's at the bottom of the hour, man. Do you know where your kids are, man?
If you want to contact the John Lebang Show, feel free to send an email to jlebang@live.com. And if you're on Twitter, look them up.